Hey, good morning, guys.
Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Hello.
Are we all here? No.
Hey, everyone.
Hey.
Hello.
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 Hello. Good morning.
Hey, William.
Hey, Mauro.
So, let me share my screen. What am I doing here? Kairos Planning. Share the screen. You should see screen now.
Yes.
So, welcome everybody. This is the planning meeting of Kairos again. Anything anybody wants to bring up before we start with the regular stuff?
Nope.
All right.
Just that for me, it's gonna be a short week.
Mhm.
Out on the 29th and 29th, 30th, and the 4th, I think. Something like that. It's gonna be a short week for me.
All right. I think it's 1st of May.
Oh, yeah,
Wait.
it's short week for
Yeah,
everyone, but
normal
shorter for
holiday.
you.
Oh, okay. That's Friday. Okay, so you're also getting Wednesday and Thursday. All right. But everybody's going on Friday, right?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
So I think I get in Friday, Wednesday for Thursday, and then the next
Yeah.
Monday as well.
All right. Okay.
Is that
Right.
the calendar in the
Mhm.
shell?
Yeah, it's very nice. You can actually show as many months. You only has more flags, but the only one I know is this one. How many months you want to see? So if I want to see August, for example, I will do this and find August somewhere. Alrighty. Let me go to the roadmap first. Let me go to the roadmap to see where we stand, what we've been doing. Roadmap. It's terribly slow. I think streaming kills my connection every time, but come on, to the right. 4.1 is what is coming soon. And it's focusing on, where are the tickets? Should be a list here. There it is. It's focusing on some Hadron things, some bug fixes, NVIDIA board support, some additional operator work, and yeah, confidential computing stuff. So keep that in mind. I'll leave this tab open. So while we're going through the tickets, let's make sure we're focusing on whatever this milestone is about, so we get it out sometime soon. So let me go here and see what we did. So in done, there was a bug which resulted in a fix. If I recall correctly, we made a code switch to detect system D, and we do a different thing on 256 and different thing on newer ones, because they changed again in system D how they suffix the loader entries. Is that correct description, Ichaka, of how we fixed it? So
Yes, exactly. During the unstable release, they changed how they identify the entries, removing the boot assessment from there. So they broke everything, basically, from everyone. And yeah, now we have to deal with that in the agent when choosing boot entries and whatnot, because depending on the version, we have to go one way or the other. It's just pain in the ass.
All right. Nothing people should know. It's automatic, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
All right.
Indeed.
That's a change in the homepage on the quick start guide. I think it's now mentioning Kairos Lab.
Yeah, that's correct. So did 2 changes there, added the Kairos lab, and it's even shorter than the original quick start, and also updated so that it references that now we have ARM images as well. So before we were saying that was not an option.
And we have ARM images?
Yeah.
We have ARM images.
Or it just says that?
No, I've tested it plenty of times on the Mac, so it works.
Mauro, you're getting pretty good at doing those videos, huh?
Thank you, man. I appreciate
Any
it.
new one, it looks nicer and nicer. Really nice.
Thanks.
Very good job. Okay, this was a fix for. So there was a little component in the operator, kind of optional in the beginning. Turns out people try to use it. It's labeling Kairos nodes as Kairos nodes, so people can use the label in their selectors and do stuff only on Kairos nodes. For example, run node operations and things like that. But someone pointed out that if you try to run it on a Talos node, then it would fail because it's trying to mount etc/Kairos release to detect, if it's Kairos, and that thing is not there, obviously, but it can't even create that because it's a read-only file system. So Kubelet will try to create it as a directory if it doesn't exist, and you try to mount it, and it will fail. And then we discussed various things on how to do labeling. There was another story. I think it's, let me see which one it is. Reliable Kairos detection via Kubernetes node labels, where we said, okay, maybe the provider should do the initial labeling and things like that. Turns out the fix for the original issue here was simpler. Just mount the whole etc. etc exists, right? You won't have to create it, and then try to see if there is an etc Kairos release. So that fixed the original problem. Then I said, okay, what on earth? We have the operator. We don't need something else. What we're going to do is the operator is going to run in two steps. First one, it creates a job, finds with or like it did before, whatever is a Kairos node, it's going to label as a Kairos node, just one label saying this is a Kairos node and nothing else. And then actually, it's going to put a lot more labels now and annotations with things from Kairos release. So it's going to put it on the node object. But then to keep things in sync, which was the original request here in one of the comments, said, okay, and what do we do when we upgrade and things like that? What I added in the operator is that it also creates a daemon set, but that daemon set is creating pods only on Kairos nodes. Remember, we already labeled them. So now we know which nodes are Kairos nodes because the job already labeled them. So the operator is also spinning up a daemon set that only runs pods on Kairos nodes and runs in intervals and keeps the labels in sync. So if you change something in your Kairos release, eventually after a minute, it's gonna
It was me.
You're freezing, Dimitris.
Gone? Yeah.
So,
No.
oh,
Almost.
Ping
Wow.
him on Slack, maybe that works. Oh no, it shows us he's away.
yeah. Anyway, so the question was maybe Mauro, you asked how we keep them in sync. I think maybe it was your comment here somewhere.
Dimitris, we lost you. We lost you for a while.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed.
For how long?
So after you said that if you change something in the release file, and then we don't know what happens.
Okay. If you change your Kairos release file, the daemon set pod, the thing that runs on the Kairos node, is going to make sure it ends up in your labels. So it's going to update the labels. So you're going to get a nice set of labels like these. I'm not sure if this is the exact thing I implemented actually, but something like that. And some annotations. So you get a mirror of your Kairos release on your node object, only on Kairos node. And I think that kind of resolves the issue. Someone asked somewhere, oh, what if I don't want the operator or something like that? But yeah, what on earth? I mean, why wouldn't you want the operator and want something else that does the exact same thing? That's exactly why the operator is there. So I intentionally ignored that because I don't see a reason to avoid something. Yeah.
Can I ask a question, Dimitris?
Yeah.
What parameter do you not? What made you decide between using an annotation and a label?
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. I asked AI, and it said label should be only things that people that are not changing all the time, and it should be things that people might use to select a node. Anything else that is informational only should end up in an annotation. But if you disagree with what I put there, I have no strong opinion. We can move them around.
I don't disagree with what you put there. I disagree with the answer of AI.
That's also, I mean, probably if you disagree with that, you should also disagree with what we put there. But you can check out.
Normally, my rule of thumb is to put an annotation that is used by a machine, put labels that are used for selecting. So if let's say if an annotation is present, I can use taints. I can use I can change the behavior of a controller in relation to that object. When I have a label, I use it to select one or multiple object according to a label. So I use labels for as you would use in math, sets, and annotation more for changing the behavior of an automation or a controller or an operator. Ettore, do you agree with this? Or maybe am I making it too simple?
No, yeah, makes sense to me. Yeah, what you're saying.
Let me send you the link to this so you can have a look at what I put where, and we can just simply change it if you think we should. Or on earth is chat. And then you go there.
I have a question on life cycle flows there. Like, if I'm using the Kairos operator, I assume that you're always going to use the Kairos operator. But what happens if I use a manual upgrade? Because
no, it doesn't matter. So as long as the daemon set is running, it's not depending on the operator doing the upgrade to update them once. It's running constantly. So it doesn't matter how your Kairos release changes. As long as the daemon set is running on your cluster, It's going to detect it's a Kairos node, and it's going to change the labels and annotations.
Yeah, but that's actually my point. Like the way I think of Kubernetes is that you declare on your deployments what you want. If I declare that I want version 4.1 and then I manually move to 4.0, the declaration of my deployment should move it back to 4.1, because whatever you did manually there, it's not, it's breaking the contract with the deployment.
Which deployment? So you define
The
what you want
Kairos
to upgrade
operator
to.
upgrade you did last, for example.
Yeah. In there, in the node op, you define an image to upgrade to. That's where you define what you want to upgrade to.
Yeah.
After you reboot, your node is going to get updated labels and annotations matching exactly what you upgraded to, not what you declared anything. The exact thing that is in the image that is booted. It's reading that from the Kairos release, from the booted image.
I get that, but if the last upgrade I did with the operator is to 4.1, my feeling as someone managing Kubernetes is that it should stay 4.1. Even if someone manually goes and changes it to 4.2, because the last contract says 4.1, Kubernetes should say, oh, wait, that's not correct. Let me move it back to 4.1 because that's the one that should be there.
You're assuming it's declarative, but the upgrades in the operator are imperative. They're one of things. You're saying update this to that, and they go away. There is nowhere written that this is supposed to be for 1. You once said, I want to upgrade to 4.1, and maybe that resource is even deleted from that point on. So it's not declarative. You're right in that. If it was written anywhere, we should make sure it stays like that. But it's in one-off thing, the upgrade. So the single point of truth of what the image is really the etc Kairos release from the booted image.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
But one follow-up question then, Dimitris. Could we drive then the operator with flux or with a continuous delivery? Meaning, if we want to declare a declarative approach, could we put the state of that release in a Git repo or in an OCI registry and have the driving the upgrade from the Kairos operator or from an upgrade?
I get your point. You want to make it declarative. I agree. I think it was in the plans, but it's missing some new resource. So ideally, the place to say, so if in a pod you want a specific image, you put it in a deployment. But when it comes down to the actual machine, the node, the natural place to put it would be the node itself, right? You say, hey, you node, you're supposed to run this, and make it declarative. But the problem is you don't define the nodes in Kubernetes. You don't apply a node, right? So we need another, let's say, sibling, like a wrapper around a node that the operator understands, and it describes the desired state of the node, like what operating system to run, and then the operator could use the node operations to bring it to that state when to reconcile, right, to make it be like that.
So this, in my opinion, this sounds very much like the machine registry that I opened the issue for. It's something for that we can use machine registry and a machine inventory. I opened an issue that it was for something else. No, it was for something else, but it was I don't know. Ichaka mentioned that I wanted to recreate Elemental, but it wasn't necessarily Elemental that I wanted to create. I wanted to have a registry. I wanted to have an inventory and a registry for machines and a registry endpoint. So that if you have the machine inventory, not a node inventory, but a machine inventory, you can specify what the machine needs to be always, and an upgrade, instead of upgrading directly the node, you're upgrading the inventory, and then the operator or whatever it is will trigger an upgrade of the machine. So it's going to be always declarative.
Sounds more like a pool of machines to reuse But I assume you need that for CAPI, and I think this matches more what we were discussing with the Tore, with a new layer, like a pool of nodes, right? That you can assign them roles.
You would have a pool of machines, and then you will create a pool of nodes according to those machines.
Yeah, so what I described could be part of that. I agree, but it's missing one more thing, which is a limbo state of a node, which we don't have. Like, I mean, we could have, but there's nothing around it yet. Like you spin up a node, like a Kairos node, maybe even a core one, and somehow you can go back to it and say, now you node, please reset to that image with this config, and by that you can make it part of whatever cluster you want. And so, yeah, I mean, you could put that in what I described. We can create a new resource that says, hey, this machine should run this image and be, and use this config and be part of that cluster and whatever, right? And that covers your case, as long as we could have a pool like that. And I think what Ettore wants to show, where we introduce a new layer with machines, and then like we discussed, like having a pool of nodes in a attached state, not bound state, something like that. It's been coming, back again every now and then, but it's not designed yet. So it's interesting. That's what I'm trying to say. But we don't have. It's not just part of the operator. So we could start with a wrapper around nodes, not yet covering your case, but simply describing in a descriptive way, saying the node should be running this and that. So you can use FlagCD and whatever. And then when we have a new state, like a pool, we can integrate that and say, yeah, apply that config and things like that. Additional, in the new CRD.
Okay.
This is very exciting, to be honest. I think that would give it even a notch up, that you're basically defining your cluster nodes through Kubernetes.
Yeah.
We're basically building CAPI, but without using CAPI, which I like.
That's what I tried to do with what did I call it back then? Kairos Adm, where you have a little pool of things and you see them even without Kubernetes. So as soon as they come up, they talk to each other over HVPN. So they all connect to a specific HVPN service, not full-blown VPN, but they advertise an HVPN service, and then you can send them API commands. So it's relying on HVPN to create a network of things for a specific use, just an API, so you can assign them roles and apply things to them. But now Ettore has a better way to do that, not on CLI. I did that on CLI because I prefer CLI, but I think it's time Ettore showed us what he's up to.
Let's
should we do it now, or should we do it a quick planning and then we give you some time to do that?
Let's show it. Show it.
Okay, show it now then. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing.
Give me one sec.
You cannot tell the kids we got
exactly.
We got ice cream, but it's for after dinner, right?
One sec. I think you should see the screen, right?
Yes. See the screen. Yeah.
Okay. So let me start from scratch first, because it's nicer when it's done from the scratch. And I wanted to show everything, but I'm almost doing it.
You can show everything. It's okay.
Okay, so this is the UI of AuroraBoot, which is a little bit more with superpowers. I'm removing everything, so you see. There we go. So you see the start when there is nothing here. So it's like trying to guide you into the process. So first, it will let you build an artifact, then deploying it to a node, and then manage it. And managing it doesn't let you manage the workload, so it's managing the host mainly. And of course, if you have already Kairos node, you can import. So you have here a URL that you can copy, paste to the directly to the node, and you will see the node registered here. So now I'm going to build test ISO, And I will do like this, like this. I will put a Docker file now because the Kairos agent doesn't have a release yet with the changes that are needed to make this work end to end. But you see, it's easy because I can go here to the artifact. I can just pick whatever I want. In this case, I picked custom, and I could put a base image only or a Docker file. So it makes development going very quickly at this point. Then you select. So you select the architecture, the model, and the artifact version. Then you can pick things like custom user, no user, and so on and so forth. So if you want to go full, no SSH access and nothing completely locked in, you can go with one click. And then here you have to choose what it's going to build for you, right? So it can be netboot artifacts. In this case, I will keep it simple, ISOs. And I can select also all the commands that can be received by the machine here. Provisioning, auto installation, and it will automatically register with AuroraBoot. So it's going to talk directly here to the UI. You can also drop files here that are going to be in the ISO. So if you need, to do air gap, this is the way. You can just drop things here. And then, okay, there is the summary. And then it will start building. So now it should take a little bit. Meanwhile, it builds. I can show you also there is this section about certificates, so you can actually create trusted boot certificates here. So you don't have to handle this manually. And then there is a deployment section which connects to net booting. But yeah, it's not end-to-end working yet. So this is still a work in progress. Okay, meanwhile, this is building. And we also, there is an error. Nice. What's happening? Network is a rich one. Okay, something wrong with the network.
DNS.
Yeah, most probably. It's always DNS, man. Okay, let's retry again. But anyhow, I have already an ISO built with it, so I'm going to select it in any case, just so you can see. Here we go. So I'm going to install like Kairos Hadron. This is the one that I already built. It's the same process basically. I'm going to start it now, and you will see now it's going to do the full loop automatically. So it's going to install. Okay, now it finished to build also. So you see, I would have just clicked here, and downloaded the ISO and that's it. Which is nice. And only you can do exporting. So you can export the whole config that you used here. So you can import it later and build how many artifacts you want, because you can just go here and build new and go with import, right? So you can import, export everything. And from here you can deploy, right? So you can select Redfish in this case. Now, I didn't have any target to test this, but it's using already the code in AuroraBoot. So I don't expect, surprises here, because this is just the UI portion of it.
Well, I wrote the code, so expect surprises.
Netbooting works nicely. I have to tell you, I tried netbooting and it works very nicely. When you check the netboot artifacts, that is, you should have checked it when you build it.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't, the build process, I can clone here and go here. I have to put netbooting, otherwise it won't work. Then you can do UKI, and then you can put the keys even for the UKI. So you see,
fancy.
You can just go like this, and then enable trusted boot here. And then you see, you can even pass the cloud config here if you want to modify a thing or a kind of init image. One thing to notice, it's automatically detecting if the image is Kairos initified or not. So you don't have to care about running Kairos init here, or specifically nothing. You can just select the Ubuntu image and that's it. Now let's see the box. Okay. okay, this is already logged in, and I think we see it, node registered. There you go. So we see now the node here, and I mean 20 cores, a lot of memory. Now we can send command to it. And this is the fancy part, right? So you can do reset, you can do upgrade of the recovery. Basically, it's the same commands that we have in Kairos, but you can just drive it from here. The most interesting one is that now you can actually upgrade from a built artifact. So you don't have to do nothing special here. So you can select another artifact that was built, and then you can send the upgrade to the machine. So you don't need a container registry, you don't need anything specific to make this work. It will just push the image to the node. The node will get, the imported Docker image, so it can just do the upgrade. Two things to notice here: everything of this is API driven, so it can be completely reused and re-architectured, and a lot of this code can be reused, and it was made in on purpose that you can actually you can switch the implementation. So now it's using all the AuroraBoot code, but it's done like with interfaces in Golang, so you can quite easily make it use the Kairos operator. So if you have to deploy this on Kubernetes, all the wiring have to be done yet. I mean, there is no wiring for the Kairos operator, but that's the next step. Right? So you would wire it to the operator, so you have two ways of running this. One is standalone, like this. This is just a Docker image that you can run. Like this is standard AuroraBoot. So you just do AuroraBoot web, and now you will see this one instead of the old UI. And then of course you can we can start to think about attaching to the operator directly, so this can be deployed on Kubernetes, so to say. But yeah, this is mainly it.
This is awesome. I had seen a preview, but now that I see the extra commands and all of that, this is super exciting. So does that mean we now have a Kairos API?
Yeah. This is an API. Right? I mean, to me, this is the natural layer for CAPI. Like CAPI should talk to this when it comes to, for instance, creating the artifacts and make the machine start. You know what I mean? Because then you have the primitives here, and CAPI becomes just a shim. So you have this shim that, okay, you can use CAPI, but otherwise you can just Docker run it and run it locally if you ever need to. Now it's a bit to download, but
this is amazing. Yeah. I love it. I love it, actually. It's really cool.
Great job.
We can stand up a Sushi Tools lab to test the redfish thing.
Oh yeah. It would be great. I couldn't test it. So I went a little bit, And yeah, there is Swagger also, so you can point even AI agents to it, and you get everything you want, directly.
Wow!
You see how everything ties together now.
Yeah.
Like what you said. Now it has kind of a pool there, and what Tori didn't mention. I mean, that state you have could be based on HVPN at some point, so you could take it even further and list nodes that are not even part of the same local network. And we can, implement it as a layer there, and you make them so up here from wherever they are, like public cloud, bare metal, whatever, and they also up here. Yeah. You assign them roles, and can do everything from here.
Are you also thinking of pre-registering machines, etc.?
I mean, right now this is not there yet, but technically speaking, when you import nodes, if you check the code that it's going to give you, basically it's a simple script that writes a phone home.yaml into and that's all. That's all it needs to do. So pre-registered machine means that you have to have machines with dropping a YAML file like this inside of it. Right. So the script, it's really doing simple. I mean, the script, it's very simple. It's just writing it, and then it's running Kairos agent start that it's going to register it. basically. That's it. So registered machine means you can just drop the file there in the raw disk, or like AuroraBoot is doing. I mean, you can just have a build artifact here, and you can have raw disks, and this contains already the cloud config to register to it, right? So, I mean, there is a lot of ways of doing it now, which is very, very cool. And
nice.
then
I love it. I love it.
Does that mean I have to make now AuroraBoot t-shirts too?
Well, now you have to write the docs.
Yeah, that's true.
true.
All right, very nice one. We will have more conversations around that since now it's presented. Then we're gonna plan tickets around this new feature. It's not part of any release yet because, like we said, it needs an updated Kairos agent. There is a Kairos agent release and a Kairos init that references that Kairos agent release. Everything is ready, but there is no Kairos release yet with those versions in. So there is no Kairos release in which you can just, spin up AuroraBoot and connect them easily. Next release is going to have that though, but until then we can add features, improve it, and things like that. So let me go back to sharing my screen. Share. There. All right, so let's go. We have 20 minutes for this planning. Let's be quick. So like I said, this is about the labeler. Here it's me trying to upgrade Kairos SDK. What else was it? I think QEMU core and Kairos agent. So there were some CVEs, and there are various PRs trying to fix them, and they're now fixed. Debs again for the same reason. Quick start we already discussed, so I'm going to archive this list. I'll get it out of the way. NVIDIA Thor under review. Who is reviewing it?
I hope you folks.
I don't have an NVIDIA Thor. Approved. Go ahead, merge. Do we have someone with an NVIDIA Thor?
Yes, me.
No, another one.
No, I don't.
No.
I don't. I saw it and I thought, yeah, looks great.
Yeah, see, that's all I need.
Okay.
A simple,
then,
look great.
okay, that's what I'm gonna do because I don't have a Thor to test it.
Okay, let's put the standards very low and say, let's check it doesn't break something else. If it's only touching NVIDIA Thor,
it's mostly about that and about you folks understanding how the thing works, because several of the libraries that we need to push for this to work are glibc, and there is no sources for them, right? So we cannot do anything with that. So we do something, I don't want to say a hack because it's not really, but yeah, we ship glibc with muscle in there and take advantage of how muscle and libc lives in different places, and how libc checks the ld config to know where the libraries are and so on. So we can keep them kind of isolated one from the other, but just so you can see how it works, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Okay, someone has to take a look then. This one didn't get a reply, and we said last week, if I recall correctly, that we're going to close it if there is no response. Let me check. It was me trying AI things. It was Chaka doubting the AI fix is good, and then there was nobody saying more things. There is no additional information.
I guess no one wants to get in the middle between AI and Chaka.
Reopen it.
Oh yeah, I'm just very worried that this is a one-off, and then we are doing a fix for something that is not really a fix, or not understanding what the fix is and where it comes from.
Yeah.
So if it happens again, In the future, we are screwed.
This is a very, very nice way to treat bugs. We can close them the first time they arrive, keep track of how many times they appeared, and just work on them if they appear again. We won't have any open tickets. NVIDIA Thor, we discussed. Reliable node detection via Kubernetes node labels. It's only open because I was waiting for comments. Let me see. We can probably close this down here. Then more things. It landed somewhere, so I'm gonna close this. PR merged, closing, close with comment, one less thing, and then here we go again. What else? Migrate from Kaniko to Builda. That was part of the release we're working on. I already did some preparation at some point. I just asked Claude to start doing things, and I was testing it out and reviewing it. It looks good to me. I tried that manually. I only made one last change this morning, and I want to try that again. But from my side, it looks okay. It works. It's doing that even rootless, if I remember correctly from last week. It doesn't need so many privileges in the containers, and yeah, we no longer need Kaniko, which is an archived project, at least the original repo. So please, someone, if you can have a look, we can get it merged. It's part of the 4.1 release. And that's the documentation for the above. There were some mentions of Kaniko, and I had to update it. Adopter classics, what do we need to do about that?
So that is pretty cool. I don't know if it was initiated from William or from Dario, but if you were there, William, thank you. So Dario requested to be in the adopter list. So we have another repo called community, where we list the different adopters, and that's where we're going to show for the incubation who is there. But it's a lot more than that. So there are now these issues that we request people who want to be adopters to fill for permissions, and if they are, if at the moment that we tell the CNCF we want to go into incubation, you can talk to these people. They have to state it there, for example, things like that, whether we are allowed to use their logo or not. So I would say this is super exciting. I'm very much looking forward to have Clastics there. We should reconnect with them now in Cloud Native Days Italy, because yeah, this would be our first real adopter. We do have to help them, of course, move from proof of concept to production, because that's obviously needed. But yeah, I wouldn't expect that to be a problem. Hopefully, we'll see.
And this is a good opportunity. This is recorded and shared with the community. It's a good opportunity to remind everybody who's using Kairos that if you are okay with putting your name or your company here in this list, it definitely helps Kairos for the next stage of incubation. Yep. So please speak
it's
up.
Even possible to do, if you cannot put your name for legal reasons and you need to do interviews behind doors, the closed doors, that's also possible with the CNCF. So good mentioning, Dimitris. Please help us.
Even if you are the mafia, for example, right? And you can't put your name. I'm kidding, I think. Okay, and that was it. Extra SIMD line support. It came in, I think, during the weekend or something. I had a look this morning. Doesn't look wrong to me, but I wanted to actually test it. So I put it there in case someone else has free cycles. How on earth am I creating these groups in Firefox now? That's a new thing. No, I don't want groups. Okay, there you are. Yeah, I only made one comment, but if someone has sometime, please check it out. What I wanted to say is, I think this is. Wait, does this need rebase? This is adding on the UI, and that must be the new UI because it's in AuroraBoot. So I wanted to check if it's actually changing the new UI, just to tell them to rebase on the new one. It doesn't make sense to improve the old one, right? Yeah, but that's it. So this was under review. What are we currently doing? And let's cut some, make short and make sure we're focused already on the release. So this is the Kaniko alternatives already here. I'm going to put it under review because I'm not doing anything other than testing the PR. It's under review though. Confidential computing workloads in Hadron. We checked on some users' hardware, and Kairos generally works with confidential computing operator. But I couldn't make it work with Hadron at that point. It was too early. So what we need to do is actually write down that Kairos works with confidential workloads, but also I'm trying to make it work with Hadron. Now I don't have access to that hardware anymore, so I'm trying to do that on AWS, which would make more sense for many more users. It's more generic, right, and accessible. I'm not going to say the details now. There is a checkbox in two regions in AWS, Ireland, then I think Ohio is the other one, where you get to select the SNP extensions and say I want trusted workloads. And supposedly by picking our AMIs on those regions on specific EC2 instances, MA6 is the smallest one, I think, then you could get confidential workloads running. And that's not working yet. That's what I'm currently working on. Kairos Hadron RISC-V. Yeah. This goes very silently in, but I think it's a big thing, right? Where it's in. But please say more.
I don't think there's much update. Chaka made it work in Kairos Init for a bunch of other distros, so Debian, Ubuntu 24.04, and I don't remember which one was the other one. Then it should also work with Fedora and Hadron. So I think we will have a pool of 5 distros. Yeah, but still need to find some time to polish some things there.
Are we going to be releasing artifacts for this?
I think we should. I don't know what everyone else
No,
thinks,
I'm asking because if they build on emulation, I wonder how long it's gonna take to get a release out.
I
There are
know
no RISC-V,
we actually have CI machines that are real hardware. They are not the fastest, we could say,
nice.
but we're using Ichaka made some good caching mechanism there, so I think it will be slower than the other ones, but still decent, maybe. We'll see.
Nice. And this is in progress because we still fix pipelines and things, right?
Yeah, the Hadron Kairos Init one is not merged yet.
Okay. Hadron QA, this is still open because, William, we were waiting for you, I think. Is this the one we're waiting? No, that was a CAPI one. This one is open because we are supposed to make it work on Raspberry Pi. I didn't find any time to pick it up this week, the previous week. So we know it doesn't work on Raspberry Pi 4, at least. So yeah, it's staying there until we checked every device we know Kairos is working and things like that. No KZRS artifacts on latest releases. I'm not sure if we have enough time to discuss it again. There was some discussion in the chat. The problem is, just William, to bring you up to date, the problem is that whenever there is a CVE in K3S, K0S on any of the components we don't control anyway, we're blocking the release now, and we're not sure it's the right thing to do because, I mean, you could release with no CVEs this morning, and until the afternoon there is a CVE. What does that mean? We cut another release. So people should maintain their own pipelines, because we made it very easy to do so, and cut releases whenever they want. On the other hand, the question remains, do we release when there is a CVE? For example, there was a CVE last week, there was no fix for it yet, and we wanted to cut a release but didn't, and the previous release didn't include K0S artifacts for the same reason. And people ask, oh, okay, where are the K0S artifacts, right?
Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I understand the policy, and it makes sense, but doesn't it make the release dependent of other groups in that case? I mean, okay, now it's K0S. What if it's K3S? What if it's
exactly.
So
one way we thought about solving it, but it's not like you hit a button and it happens and it's work, is that we extract all these components, have their own life cycle, like system extensions, for example, and we don't produce standard images anymore. And you say, okay, this is Kairos, and with some switch in your config, you say, I want K3S, I want K0S, and it pulls in a system extension or a bundle or whatever, right? Right now, it's not that simple, because we have hooks that call out to the provider to pull in binaries and files and whatever. But it could work at some point, and we could make it very simple for the users. So by extracting all the things we don't control out of the Kairos images, we no longer block our releases. But that needs works on the UX, on the code, on everything.
But for now, we said we're going to start releasing even if K3S or K0S have a CVE.
Maybe with a warning.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise, indeed, it's completely blocked, and we might have an event. We want to show the latest feature, and it might already be ready, but we have to got an alpha or an RC or whatever, which doesn't really make any sense either. So I don't know. Maybe this is more of a also call to the community if someone would have a strong opinion on that. But I think for now it makes sense just to do the releases that we were discussing, and
I think so, to be honest.
long term, maybe we do something like what Dimitris was describing.
I think so. I think so too.
Okay, so for now I'm going to remove my face, but the thing to do here, if we all agree, is that we change the pipeline to release, and maybe there's a way to automate the warning. So since it's the release pipeline, it's the one that creates the, no, it doesn't create the release notes. Maybe there is a way to automate putting a comment at the very top saying, hey, this release comes with some CVs on this and that component, right?
Yeah, I think we do have actually automated release notes, so we can change that. Good point. I'll write a comment on the ticket.
Nice, thanks. All right, and then in to-do list, there was a problem with Hadron on ARPi-4. This is it. I didn't touch it again. This is what we just discussed. NVIDIA building documentation, changes in the docs, things we already discussed, right? Bugs we already discussed. So we still have 4 minutes, and what we can actually do is we can go. Yeah, okay, two ways we can do. Either we go to here and we pick stories, but I trust that you guys remember what the list is and you can find it. So just please make sure you all focus as much as possible on the release. So we don't really have to pick because they're not prioritized in any way. There's no preference. All of them have to happen. So just pick something from here and let's try to finish it. So instead of now picking stories, I will leave this open and just go to the list of issues to see if there's anything we ignore, because I think last time we didn't check either incoming stuff, and I don't want to neglect it for too long. Come on, there we are. Okay, this one we discussed. This one, for example, this was a request to have QEMU tools in Hadron, I think. And since this is not very straightforward how to do that, maybe we want to bake it in every case. I thought there was a comment from you, Chaka, maybe it was in Slack. Why do I remember you replying to this?
I also remember replying to that.
It must have been in Slack. Or, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yes.
All right,
Yeah,
but we
I think-
agree this is a good thing to do, right? So I'm going to remove trials.
Yeah. I think it's good, and it solves a use case. We could have an example for that.
Yeah,
we have examples for several things. That's it.
Example or bake it in?
Also for CAPI, with CAPI KubeVirt provider would be good to have it.
Oh, so good. See, two beers, one.
Should it come by default or just so people how to add that?
No. Remember, Hadron is to make it as small as possible.
Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
So the idea is to have the smallest. Yeah. So if we add as an example, then you can view it as a layer and just put it on your own release or whatever. Or you can just integrate into your workflow or whatever, but not in the base. So we don't have to.
Should I pull it in? Is there enough capacity for this week, or I just leave it there and maybe put it in the milestone, or just leave it to be planned next time? Whatever you prefer. This one we discussed. This one I don't know. Is the boot within it? What is that? Chaka, you opened it.
I did not. I did.
2 weeks ago you did, yeah. Maybe. Close relation between agent Imicor and SD boot.
Remember. Oh yeah. So yeah. No.
Should I delete it?
So I'm not sure if this is the correct way of doing it or not. So for SD boot, we built our own SD boot, right? So all of our, because you have to sign it anywhere with your keys. We don't really care about getting the ones from upstream or from the distros or whatever, right? So with that, we also ship the same version everywhere, which is really nice because we then any features that it provides, we don't have to deal with some older ones or whatever. We just have the same one. But the problem is those are linked to Kairos agent usually and QEMU core, right? Taking care of those features because QEMU core, for example, SD boot passes stuff via initramfs and it can pass info to initramfs, something that we can take advantage on QEMU core and so on. But if we add a feature in QEMU core or Kairos agent, then because currently it's Aurora the one that ships the SD boot files, we'll have the sync in there, right? You can build with whatever Aurora you want and use anywhere in it. This is something that it actually happened. So the idea here will be to ship SD boot with init. So we have a direct link between the agent and QEMU core version that we're shipping and the SD boot version that we are shipping. Mm-hmm. And Aurora will still have their own version or whatever, but that's used as a fallback mechanism.
And so why do you think it's not the right way?
Because I don't know, because Aurora also needs some info about the SD boot version, right? For the configuration files and extended CMD lines and things like that. Is Aurora the one that generates the config files on the fly during building? But I'd rather have the SD boot version identification in Aurora rather than in Kairos agent or in QEMU core during runtime, especially if it's just for building some config files.
Just one idea, not enough time probably to discuss it thoroughly, but just hit me. What if AuroraBoot stopped being clever about things, and whenever it wanted to generate a file, instead of just assuming stuff, it called out, because I think AuroraBoot extracts the image on disk, so it, at some point in time it has access to all the binaries. What if it just called Kairos init to produce what it, so if you want to put all the logic
No,
in
you
Kairos
don't
init,
have Kairos init in there at that point.
then I remember, it's removed.
No, but it can just check the SD boot version and then do the config file. I mean, if they will stop fucking with the config files and things like that, because, for example, they change the entries, instead of being FEI, now it's UKI. Why? Because reasons. So you get a lot of things disabled if you don't change that. And, things like that. They shouldn't be changing things that are working. They don't have.
Man, we're living on the
backwards
edge. We consume
compatibility.
things as they come immediately, so yeah, we can't complain.
Yeah, but you have to maintain backwards compatibility.
No.
You cannot just drop stuff. And the thing with trusted boot and things like that is because there is not a lot of people using it, they feel safe enough to change it. It's not the same as other things that they already have.
Just the Chaka complaining.
Surveys. Yeah, basically it's just us and the next guys complaining.
All right, I'll let you think more about this since we're not sure yet. I'm not pulling it in. Anything external? I'm skipping all our names because all of you can rant in Slack if you see that they didn't make it, but I want to make sure that the community is not ignored. This one is the one we discussed, right?
Yeah.
This one we discussed. Ludea, we discussed the Raspberry Pi, and these are all older. And Kubestellar is still waiting for review. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, need someone to try that out, see if it actually works and what it does. I didn't find the time to do so, but yeah. So, okay, that's all I had to say. Pick stories from the planning, from the roadmap, from the current release. I don't have anything else. Anybody, something to mention? We're 4 minutes late.
I just want to mention something quickly about CAPI. I'm having serious problems to stand up the lab for MetalKubed. We decided that the operator for bare metal was going to be MetalKubed because we had a KubeCon. We had some people asking for that. But if I stand up the lab for MetalKubed, that means that I have the lab for CAPV, for the CAPV sphere and the CAPKubevert is going to fall apart. So that means that I cannot test if there is any regression in the code. So I'm a little bit stuck with MetalKubed, and it's not because of code; it's because of the lab. So I'm a little bit frustrated. That's why it's nothing is coming out yet.
Can we work around it? Like get some machines on? I mean, what kind of machines do you need for that?
Machines with Redfish, that's the case, but it's not much. It's not too much the machines, to be honest. It's the actual lab, because MetalKubed is going to require that I have a DHCP and Pixie environment.
Got you.
And if I stand up that, then KubeVert and the sphere is going to break. I don't have.
Do you have any plan? Like you're looking at other solutions?
I am, but I don't have a solution yet. So
right, okay.
I was trying to. I was thinking of moving the KubeVert lab on cloud, but yeah, I to be honest, I don't have a solution yet. No.
Okay, if you get completely blocked and with no ideas left, let us know. We can jump in a call and discuss solutions.
Yeah. For the moment, I'm thinking of using a VLAN dedicated with the DHCP relay. But I have the feeling that I am introducing patterns that are not clean enough to develop. So I don't know. I'm still thinking.
All right. So thanks everybody. Anything to mention? You have 9 seconds.
Have a good one.
Enjoy the
Okay.
day. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.